Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video, and I'm just out here double checking that I am live in the spot where I want to be, and which it looks like I am live out on my business page, and just pulling up the video now so that I can see comments and things as you join in. So if you are here live, I appreciate it hanging out and joining me for the day. So looks like a couple of you are hopping in, so I appreciate that. And hey, Christy, I'm glad you're here, and hope that you're having a good, and Karen is here as well, so good to see you. I see Myrtle is here, so that is awesome, and Lori, so thanks so much for joining today. Hopefully you're having a good Tuesday, and it's a little chilly here today. The wind is kind of weird, and you know, we had some beautiful, beautiful days, and then all of a sudden it got cold. So well, cold is probably a little bit of a stretch. It cooled off. So, hey, Catherine, glad that you're here. And thanks so much, Karen. I'm glad that you like my cards. So today I thought I would play with, once again, some new goodies from the upcoming Stampin' Up! Catalog. So this is from the 2020 to 2021 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. Hey, Heather, thanks for joining today. And this is a new stamp set bundle called Birds and Branches. It's windy where you are too, but not, not too bad. It's like I said, it's just kind of a little weird. It's, we got so warm, it was like hot this weekend, and then all of a sudden we cooled off and now we're 60 degrees. So it's a little crazy. Hey, Elise, thanks for joining today. And Marilyn is here as well. So I appreciate y'all joining, and hopefully you enjoy the video. So the stamp set that I used is obviously the Birds and Branches, which again, this is from the new catalog, the new annual catalog. And, it's a good one. I like it a lot. So it's, but yeah, I don't know. It's all good. It's a really great catalog. So if you are a customer of mine, you should be getting your catalog. If you don't have it already, it should be arriving very, very soon. I'm hearing from a lot of people that they have theirs, which is good news. So I'm happy about that. Hey, Kay, glad that you're here from North Carolina as well. So, so this is from the new annual catalog. It'll be a bundle that'll be available. And I'm glad that you love them too, Patricia. I love that not only is it birds, but there are dies that cut them out, which is always a huge thing for me because I love dies. Punches are good too, but dies I love because you can cut out so many different things with them. So it is the Birds and Branches stamp set, and the dies are called Birds and More dies. So that is the bundle, and like I said, it will be available starting on June 3rd. Demonstrators can actually pre-order it, so if you are interested in hopping in and joining as a demonstrator and getting your hands on it a little early, let me know, because I would be happy to talk with you more about that. So, Catherine, your catalog arrived good. I'm glad, because like I said, I know that catalogs, shipping has been delayed kind of all over the world, and I know it's frustrating, so I'm just glad that things are starting to roll in. So, back to the cards. So I will tell you a few things about it. A couple other things that I used on it. The sentiment is from the Tasteful Touches stamp set, and this is one of the new stamp sets again from the upcoming catalog. So I'm glad. Good. I'm glad you like the dies too, Margaret. Yep. And Myrtle, I'm glad you've got your catalog. So yay. I'm glad they're starting to roll out and people are starting to get them. So. All right, so we've got the Tasteful Touches stamp set. There is a set of dies that coordinates with this. We're not using it on the card today, but it's a beautiful set of dies that will go perfectly, like banner type dies and label dies. So they'll be good for sentiments and things. So again, it's another good one that will be in the upcoming catalog. So other thing that I used on this, which I don't know how well you can see it. I'll hold it up kind of still and close, and I'm hoping you can catch the light just right. The panel, the pool party panel, that's a lot of P's all in a row, pool party panel, was embossed with a subtle embossing folder. So I'm going to use that as well on the card today too. So let's get going. Let me pull the pieces together here. Hopefully I've got everything that I need. All right, so we're going to start with a pool party card base, and this is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Just your standard issue card base. I love those dies too, Catherine. I mean, that's going to be, like I said, I'm always using the stitched rectangles, and I think that's going to be right up there with the stitched rectangles as far as using them all the time. It's a really good set of dies. I've got a little piece of designer series paper from the In Good Taste designer series paper. This is also in the upcoming catalog. It's a really cool set of designer papers. I mean, they're there are tiles on one side. Some of them it's fabrics. Then there's a bunch of wood grains, which, okay, as y'all know, I love those, but there are a whole bunch of wood grains. It's a huge pack of 24 sheets of paper, double-sided, 12 different designs. So it's a really good pack of paper. I'm going to use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue to adhere that to the front of the pool party card base. And I will try my best not to stick my fingers in it, which I probably will. You're not a bird person. See, some people are, some people aren't, and I like them, so, because I know birds kind of freak some people out. But these are cute birds, at least, and not like mean ones and mockingbirds and that sort of thing. So I think these are cute little birds. All right, so we've got that adhered down. Then I'm going to take my piece of cardstock that I have cut here. The only thing to be careful of is this measures 4 inches by 4 1/4. So that's the final measurement of this. The one thing to be aware of is make sure that when you're doing your stamping on it, that you have it turned the right way on your card front. Because if you stamp it this way, where you've got the 4 inches going this way and you're going to stamp your sentiment here, it's not going to be long enough. So just make sure when you're putting it together that you have it the right way before you start your stamping. So I did pull out my Stamparatus to stamp the sentiment just because I find that on the colored cardstock, sometimes you kind of need a couple of images or a couple of stamps to get it to stamp as perfectly as you want it to, and Stamparatus makes that really easy. And as I say that, hopefully it will be. So we've got Pacific Point ink that we are going to be using to stamp the sentiment. And I'm just going to tap that over the sentiment from the Tasteful Touches. Again, I'm still learning all the names of the stamp sets and things, so sometimes it takes me a minute to remember which one's which. Actually, I think that's decent. I probably am going to give it a second go around just because I can. But like I said, I think we got a fairly decent image on that one. And I'll try to be careful not to move anything. All right, yep, I think that's perfect. So let me set this aside because we're done with the Stamparatus for right now. And I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine. And I want the stripes on it, which hopefully you can see them. I want the stripes to run vertically on it. This is the older style embossing folder. The new style is a little bit thinner and doesn't have the brand up here in the corner, but it's the exact same image that you're getting with it. One other thing to know that Stampin' Up! Has done that's really nice on their embossing folders is they've put a straight line across the bottom. So when you go to emboss something, depending on how you have it stamped and how your paper fits in it, if you can get it to line up here across the bottom, then you know you're going to be straight as far as your embossing goes. So that's one little tip with the embossing folders that I have for you. So I'm going to run this through. The subtle embossing folder, that's one of those that, as far as I'm concerned, nobody should be without that one because it's awesome. So I agree with you 100%, Myrtle. All right, I'm just over here on the side, trying to get my machine to roll here. And I do my embossing in die cutting off to the side on a little separate table I have so that you don't get seasick as we're trying to do this because the screen's wiggling so much. So there we are. I've got it embossed. And like I said, I know it's hard to see because it is really subtle, but I think it catches the light just right and you can see it. So, all right. See, yes, I'm glad that you agree with me, Karen. It's a good embossing folder. And Mary Kay, I'm happy that your catalog, it is. I mean, I feel like I've been a demonstrator for 8 years, and this is definitely, as far as an annual catalog goes, one of my very favorite ones that I have ever seen. It's totally my style stuff inside there, so I love it, and I can't wait to be able to buy like everything. So yes, it's a good catalog, at least in my little opinion, for whatever that's worth. So, all right, so using a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, which gives me just a second to get everything lined up here on the front before it sticks permanently. Yep, see, I'm glad that yay. Okay, so it's not just me that loves the catalog. I started to wonder, I'm thinking, because I love it. I think I love the catalog. So it's definitely awesome. All right, so the die cut that I used here, I went ahead and pre-cut this, and I used this die from the Birds and More dies. So that one, I've got it pre-cut here, and we're just going to do a little bit of coloring with some Stampin' Blends. And again, I did not, doing my usual coloring technique of not doing it neatly. This is just kind of getting color on the branches and the leaves and the little dot. I don't know, are they supposed to be buds? I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be, but they're cute little things, whatever they are. So, yep, I'm using light Chrome Cake Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm just coloring over it. I've gotten a good start on everything. Yeah, I know. I did order just a few things. Yes, a few of, well, one of everything that I could order at this point. So yes, I did get a nice head start with some of the things in it, but there is like a ton more that I want. It's one of those where I'm just not even going to look at the total. I'm just going to say submit the order because it's good. All right, so I've got light granny apple green that I'm going to use for the leaves. And again, I'm not really neatly coloring this, just sort of getting color on the leaves and branches here, because a lot of it's hidden by the birds on here anyway, so I don't think you need to have it perfectly colored and shaded. But it's good to have a little color on it, I think. So, all right. And Catherine says she uses her Subtle Embossing folder a lot and love the catalog. You already have folded 14 pages. Yeah, like I said, I'm not even going to look at the total because it's going to be ugly. But that's good, I think, because like I said, there's just a lot of really good stuff coming, and I can't wait to dig in and start using it all. So lots of new die sets, which I love. Lots of new punches, which I also love. So always good. The designer papers this year, and I keep saying it every time when they put out a new catalog, but they've really outdone themselves, I think, on the designer papers this year. Lots of beautiful images, and so really good stuff. All right, got light mango melody that I'm using for the little blossoms or whatever we've decided that these things are. Just going to add a little bit of quick color to those, and we are done. Hey, Marianne, I'm glad you're here. So we are done coloring, although I think I missed a little spot here on the leaf. I don't want to have a naked spot. All right, adding a little bit of color on there. And then we are just going to adhere it onto the card front with a little bit of liquid glue. There we go. Because, of course, I got busy and set it on the wrong side and couldn't find it. So, yeah, the new designer paper is definitely awesome. So your first 2 orders finally arrived. I'm glad to hear that, Catherine. So, yep, and that's one thing that I know Stampin' Up! Is trying really hard. They've had to make a bunch of changes to their warehouse processes and how they do their shipping with all this crazy virus stuff. So unfortunately, it's affected their shipping, but it's kind of affected everything all the way across the board for all sorts of companies. I'm just really glad they're still shipping to us and still allowing us to order and get all the new things, even if we do have to wait a little bit longer, which I know it's frustrating, but I'm glad that they're still letting us order. So that's a nice little bonus. So, all right, just using a little liquid glue, and I'm holding this down for 1 second to make sure that the branch gets adhered well to the card front. And I don't think I have any big globs of glue either, which I'm happy about. Sometimes I get a few of those. And I've pre-cut and stamped the little bird feet. They're kind of cute, but they'll be sitting here birdless, just little bird feet, until I get the birds stamped. So let's get the ink out and the bird images next. And let me grab this one first. Pacific Point is what I'm using for one of the little birds here. So just going to ink up the bird image in Pacific Point. Going to do the little bird here full strength first, and then his wing. If I can find yep, there it is. I'm going to do stamped off once, just because I wanted a little color over the white spot in here, but I didn't want it to be as dark as the rest of his body. So I just did a stamp on scrap paper and then stamped it right over it. And it gives a little bit, sort of a little dimension, I guess, to the look of the bird, a little shading, a little more color to him. And somehow I have blue ink already all over myself. I think I even had it there before I started today, which is not necessarily a good sign. All right, so we've got Bermuda Bay ink is the other color that I used for the bird. And that's the second bird image. And I love that the birds in this set are looking at each other, which sometimes we get them and they're both facing the same direction, and then it's not as cute. I think this one's cute, that they're looking at each other. So don't give Pacific Point enough love. See, Pacific Point is actually one that I hardly ever use. And I don't know why. It's just one of those, I know that it seems like people have a love-hate relationship with it. And I don't know, it's just one that I don't tend to reach for very often. But I do like it when I use it. It's just one of those that, I don't know, I just don't really use it. So got a little bit of Light Daffodil Delight, that Stampin' Blends here that I'm going to color the little belly of the I almost called it Coastal Cabana, but the Bermuda Bay bird, just adding a little bit of color to him. And then I'm going to take the dies here, and there are dies that coordinate with the little bird images. Oop, I guess I should get them on the camera. So the two bird images, and then these are the little feet dies that I actually used to cut out the little sets of feet are these dies. I'm trying to remember what these cut out. They're more little feet things that these cut out. So, and then there are some of the solid birds in here as well, and there's the little wreath image. So it's a good die set. So, hey, Jean Ann, glad that you are here, and where you said when you get the designer paper yes, anytime you can get all the coordinated products, I definitely use things a lot more. So yep, if we can get some with Pacific Point in it, I'll be using it like crazy, because that's one thing that I do tend to do is pull designer papers and start with those for the colors, and if their Pacific Point isn't in the colors, then I don't tend to use it. So all right, just going to do a little quick die cutting over here. Hopefully if I can get my birds to cooperate. And while I'm over here trying to get my birds set up, I have actually, speaking of designer series paper, I am doing a designer series paper share again this year. So I will be offering that, or I am offering that right now. The details are posted out on my blog. What a designer paper share is that I order full packs of designer paper, and then I cut them up and distribute them to whoever has joined in the share. So you get a nice little sampling of all of the new designer series paper, which is a great way to get all the new designer series paper without having to buy full packs. And if you're like me, you buy the full pack and then you sometimes don't use very much of it. Because I find with the designer papers, a lot of times the ones that I absolutely love in the catalog are not always my favorites when I start using them. So Myrtle, you'd be interested in a designer paper share, drop me a note or check out on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I've got the details posted out there. So let me know if you're interested in joining. I would be happy to have you hop in with us. So, and get some new designer papers soon. All right, so the little feet, I did forget to say I had stamped those in Mango Melody. And I'm going to try to get the little feet to land on a branch, which sometimes the little feet didn't, I'm not very coordinated, and sometimes I get them tilted just the wrong direction, and then you're like, oh, no, that's not what I wanted. But I think I got those on there right. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere my little birds on. So, oh, you did order the set, Christy. I hope you love it. It's a cute one. So I love the little birds, and like I said, I'm always a fan of dies, and I love that this set has a bunch of dies that go with it. So we've got one little bird glued down, and then we're going to do the other one, same thing, just got his little feet here. And I'm going to glue those down, hopefully first without dropping them. Put them on a little branch to make it look like he's standing there on it. And then a couple of, right here in front of me, I'm like, where did I put my dimensionals? But a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals here to adhere this bird on as well. So, and you love birds. See, like I said, the little songbirds and things I do like, the big vultures and that sort of thing. I'm not always as much of a fan to see those, but it is nice to have the little songbirds and the cute little birds like this. Last thing that I did was just added a rhinestone here next to the sentiment, and that basically finished up the card front for me. So on the inside of the card, I kept it pretty simple, and of course I did not grab. I'm going to have to run over a second because I left my ink pad for the little bird feet sitting over on my counter and not here on my table where I'm working at. So I've just got the little bird image here that I'm going to ink in Pacific Point again. Put him down here in the corner for the inside of my card, and then ink up the wing, stamp it on scrap paper, and then stamp it over the bird. And give me 1 second to run over and get my Mango Melody ink pad. All right. I try to be prepared and get everything ready, but I don't know, some days are just, some days are like that, we'll just say that. All right, so let me get his little feet put on a block, because apparently I totally forgot that we were going to be stamping the little bird feet at all. So let me get his feet put on a block, and then I will go ahead and get those stamped underneath the little bird. And there we are for the inside of the card. So All right, a couple of reminders while I'm gluing the inside together. Make sure that you are getting on ordering anything from the retiring list that you are interested in. Those items are going to be going away, anything on the retiring list, on June 2nd, and most of it's available only while supplies last. So be sure that you are getting your things ordered before the 2nd of June, and then June 3rd, the new catalog ordering starts. So that's a nice little bonus there. We'll be getting all sorts of new goodies. So. Saw a Pacific Point bird this morning, but it had an orange belly. I am not a bird expert. If Julie was on here, she could probably tell you what it is, but I don't know. I just know that they're pretty. I like the little songbirds, but I don't know which ones are which. So, all right. So I think that is all that I have got for you today. So those are the two cards. My sample card is here, and actually I ended up putting them a little closer together. I didn't even realize that. Put them a little closer together here on the card we made today while we were working here on Facebook. If you have questions about anything, let me know. I will be posting all the details for this card project out on my blog tomorrow, and I will link up the blog post in the comments of this video, so you can take a look tomorrow and be able to find all the details, cardstock cuts, and all that sort of thing for the card. One other thing. Actually, well, it's sort of two things. The Nature's Thoughts and Special Day dies that coordinate with the Nature's... Oh, a Special Someone stamp set. And what is the name of the other one? Nature's... Oh, gosh, I can't even come up with it. That's terrible. But they are dies that were available during celebration that are carrying over. They actually turned them back on for ordering earlier. They're supposed to be turning them back on for ordering early today. So... Positive Thoughts, that's the name of the stamp set that it goes with. So anyway, sorry for my, I should have written it down. So good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Marianne. I'm glad that you were here today, and I appreciate you hopping in and listening to me fumbling through my video. So yep, you're right, Karen, is Positive Thoughts. So thanks so much for joining today. And like I said, those two die sets are now available again, or supposed to be available today to order. So I'm excited about that. So we're getting those a little bit early as well. Thanks again for joining today. Let me know if you have any questions. I will plan to be back out on my YouTube channel live on Friday around 2 Eastern time. And I will plan to be back here on Facebook Live again next week, Tuesday around 2 o'clock Eastern time. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your week.